The Kareem Hunt thing was very interesting. Obviously, we talked about it kind of ad nauseum last week on this show. But Nick Bolton was a very divisive, polarizing guy, right? He had a lot of Chiefs fans were pissed off by the contract. And then when Kareem Hunt got signed, you had a huge faction. We saw the huge faction of the big Kareem Hunt fans on our show last week, in the live chat. I think they maybe said like one or two people maybe said not bring him back. But most everyone was saying bring back Kareem Hunt. But they get on Twitter, and you have a lot of these content creators. And I'm not gonna call out anything, but it seemed like the KCSN guys, and I've seen a lot of people would send me tweets, videos of the KCSN guys kind of talking about how Kareem Hunt, they didn't want him here. They were surprised the Chiefs were bringing him back. And it's like, what does the guy have to do to, like, win over fans? I mean, like, Kareem Hunt was the most productive running back we had last year. We relied upon him even when Pacheco came back, and even after Pacheco had a few games under his belt. Kareem Hunt was still the guy. They went to him to end games, the pivotal playoff games. He was the guy. And it's like people were surprised that we brought him back, and especially all the love he has in the locker room. The Kelce's, Mahomes, he was at Mahomes' wedding, and it's like still, you have, and I like KCSN. I like those guys over there. Our guy Barbershop has a show over there. And like the fact that I saw a lot of the guys from that network kind of like crapping on Kareem Hunt was really surprising to me. It was really surprising. A lot of people, we had people tweeted us saying they were done watching the KCSN because of the negativity towards certain players. And I was like, I get the Bolton thing. Bolton was a big time, it was big time money, right? And a lot of people get mad when you pay a guy big bucks. But Kareem Hunt, it's up to $1.5 million deal. So why be mad about that? I don't know. And one thing is like, oh, well, I hope this isn't to take away the Chiefs from drafting a running back. But I know 4 running backs now, or 3 running backs and Carson Steele, you're not going to draft a running back. So they already have their minds made up the Chiefs will not be drafting a running back. It's like, no, because all those guys are on 1-year deals. So you still got to draft a running back.
Yeah. Why you're asking why is there so much hate on what Bolton, Chiefs, or just players in general? Like
why was there so much of a polarization when it came to Kareem Hunt, right? Because like Bolton, I get the money aspect, and I get that can turn off a lot of fans. But we're talking about up to $1.5 million deal. Why were people so pissed off about Kareem Hunt? Because there was a huge faction that was big fans of the signing who wanted him back, and most of our fan base on Chief Concerns all about it. But there was a huge faction of people who did not want Kareem Hunt, which doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, I tell you what, let our Kareem Hunt
Kareem Hunt on the scene.
Kareem Hunt, yeah, go ahead. I wanted to hear you. You can touch it.
Wind blowing in the background. I'm at the scene right now. I think in general, people just don't like being wrong. So they predict that they're not going to sign him. They have their reasons all planned out. They do a 30-minute segment on their show about it, and then they sign it, and they don't like being wrong about it. I'm not in that regard because I don't think it will stop us from drafting anybody. And if we do invest a high pick in a running back, it's not going to stop him from getting run. So if anything, it's just more camp competition, really. And it's something that I hope the rookie doesn't provide, right? I mean, we might just go another way and try to get a space guy that can kill in space, who's not good on short yardage. So, but I just think in general, people hate on that kind of stuff. 'Cause again, it's more about them. It's less about the player and it's less about the Chiefs. It's more about them not wanting to be wrong about things. It's just easier to kill the move than say like, oh, I could be wrong. I mean, it's like the argument I got with the whole Bolton thing. It's like, so the 4 out of the top 7 GMs in the league are wrong, but Twitter GMs are right. I just don't get that. And especially if it's not even a big contract. It's like, so it's not even hurting. If it were a big contract, I would see hurting the team. That's your main concern. But if it's not hurting the team in money, so who cares? Like literally, it's a zero. That's why I didn't wake up like all pissed off, because it's not going to take away from anything. It's not going to stop us from drafting someone. It's not going to stop us from signing someone. Like, who cares?
You know what? I think it may be. I think it's part of it. I do agree with you on that it is. Some may not want to be wrong for it, but I think it is. I think it's something else there. And I think it's part of it too. Sasha says it beautifully, like nationwide epidemic of people believe in entities they have no connection to are spending their money. And so when people personalize like, well, this is my choice, this is my pick, I'm paying these players and all these. It's like you don't make the decisions. Sorry, I get you. You have your favorites. I get that. But it's up to Veach and those guys to get the guys in here. They know what's best for the team. They've done all the homework that you've done, and more, and then some. Than some of these pundits, me and everybody else. They know these guys. They know what fits into their offense. They know what works, and so they've done a deep dive. I mean, they've ripped every single thing as far as all the arguments, as far as like why they have a guy here or not. Okay, and I think sometimes what people do, and this is part of the problem. This is what I believe, that they get so caught up in stats on things, right? They get so caught up in production of what production necessarily looks like, and they get lost in that sauce. I really do. I think that, like Teja, you brought up that he only averaged 3.8 yards a carry or something like that, right? Mm-hmm. Last year. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. And I was sitting there like, hold on, wait a minute, though. Like the offensive line didn't have their best year blocking last year by no measure, by no means. And we were sitting there saying that our offensive line was the best one of the top offensive lines in the league. Last year, we didn't really show that on a consistent basis. No. We just didn't. So some of the tough yards, some of the, the 3.8 wasn't necessarily all on his back. It wasn't like he was just missing holes. There was times guys were just whipping guys. There was times that guys were just, wouldn't open up the lanes. And then also, too, we got to go into, like Scarecrow said, the play calling. Some of the play callings, the things that we were doing, wasn't something that was conducive to a running back with Kareem Hunt's talent. Kareem Hunt is a talented running back, okay? I'm not going to sit here and people talk about it, but Kareem Hunt is a solid back in this league. He is. He came in last year, gave us almost 800 yards, coming off the couch, literally coming off the couch, with no training camp. Like, you got to get your body ready. And you got to play football to be football in shape and ready, taking hits and all those different things. And half the time we didn't run the football with him. And when Pacheco came back, right, we was thinking, okay, Pacheco comes in, there's going to be a better rotation. And even then, we weren't doing our best job blocking even for him. Pacheco was being impatient, but Pacheco started getting a little bit more of the burn, started getting a little bit more of like the, in tune to some of the things we were doing. He started getting some of the reps. Then when Kareem Hunt came in, he started providing a little bit of spark for us. So we started looking at it and started trying to say, well, look, the correlation is Kareem Hunt has 3.8 yards. He's terrible. No. Joe Tooney wasn't playing that great. Creed Humphrey wasn't playing that great. Trey Smith wasn't playing that great. Juwan Taylor wasn't playing that great. There was the guys up front that was getting their tails kicked. And I'm being honest because I was grading these guys. And these guys are good. They're good guys. But it was things we was putting our line in positions where they couldn't be successful, where they were sitting back on the heels all the time. And what linemen want to do is they want to come off the daggone football and hit people in the mouth. And we weren't giving it to them. So yeah, that sometimes those numbers can be misconstrued because everybody looks at it all 3.8. If I'm just looking at it without having any context for it, this guy sucks to me. I mean, seriously. Well, I mean, what else you don't think, right? You're not going to say he's a good back. He has, he's been running through tackles, which he was doing. Pacheco wasn't doing that. Kareem Hunt was doing it. So that's why, to me, man, I just, if you're watching the game and you're watching how he's running, he provided a spark for us that we just didn't have last year. And so without him, we don't make it to the Super Bowl. We don't. We don't have a number one seed. We do not. And a lot of that was because Kareem Hunt was able to come in. He was able to give us a spark where we didn't really have one. So
I think there are two sides to that, though, JD,
yeah.
which is very interesting. I think because of our line play, Kareem turned a 1 yard loss or gain into 3 or 4 on a lot of carries.
Yeah.
But I also think there were many plays where he didn't have that extra gear to turn a 7 yard gain to like a 15 yard gain. he'd get caught at the second level. He couldn't get by that second level. He didn't have that burst. He had like quick level explosion, but he didn't have that speed. He doesn't have that breakaway anymore to once he did clear that first level and he was at the angling, a linebacker could angle him out and shoestring tackle him to get like 7 or 8 instead of like 15 or 20. Had he got that 15 or 20 on those carries, we'd be talking about him averaging like 4.5, 4.6 a carry. So I think it's a little of both. I think like I said before the beginning, I think his strengths are that short yardage turning -1 into like 3, which is a very valuable trait. I just think, again, to go back, we just need someone who can turn that 7 into 15.
So my thing is, as a guy that's blocked in the NFL, okay, will block the best of the best, defensive ends, defensive tackles, linebackers, and safeties. If you don't make it clean for a back to get to a certain level, because he was having a hard time just getting to the second level.
Yeah.
Like Calvin said, I would like to know how many times he got hit at the line of scrimmage. There was times, somebody missed a block. I forgot what his dope doing. He got hit in the backfield, and he still got like 2 or 3 yards.
Yeah, he's great at that.
That was very common. Like a back shouldn't have to deal with that, Tage. He shouldn't have to. Seriously.
Ideally, no. He shouldn't.
No, yeah. So
not with 180 million at the front line in the interior. No,
absolutely not. And so what I was saying is, how many moments did he have to actually get into the secondary to hit the 20-yard gain and whatnot? And look, I'm under no illusions that Kareem Hunt is the fastest guy out there and he's going to hit his head on the goalpost every time we get to the secondary. I'm not. But what I do need for him to do, and what he was doing well, is when he got to about the 10-yard, he'll get 10. He could get 12. Shoot, he broke to the secondary once in a while. You don't have to have the game-breaking speed. Shoot, all I need for him to do is move the chains. When you move the chains in the NFL, that's what you need. That's what we're asking guys to do. Is it great to have a guy like Saquon Barkley? Sure. But how many teams actually have a Saquon Barkley back there to go hit the head on the goalpost? If you go through the NFL and start looking at what guys have, there's not that many guys out there that can do those things. It's just not. NFL is hard to do, go hit your head on the goalpost. That's why I was sitting there, I was saying, like I bought for Larry Johnson, I bought for Priest Holmes. Our offensive line opened up some holes where those guys could get in to get to the secondary to outrun guys.
Sure.
And they would got dangerous. But when
get him into one-on-ones.
Huh?
Get him into one-on-ones with the DB.
Right. And so
you got to win that.
You got to win it. I don't know how many times Kareem Hunt got to those one-on-ones to say when he get to the second level. I just see it look like a little muddled at the line of scrimmage, even to the second level to linebackers where guys are getting hit. So, I mean, people can bring these things up, man, but when I'm looking at it, I'm sitting over here, and I told you I always hate PFF, but he was ranked 21st out of running backs. 21st. And he didn't even have that many. How many games did he play?
Like 8.
Yeah.
Huh?
Like 8 or 9 games. Yeah, not much.
I mean, God.
And with no training camp and off the couch. I mean, he wasn't in shape at all. I mean, they brought him in. And he got
I know, but
14
man,
carries right off the back.
Hunt wasn't a burner coming out of college, dude. He ran a 4.62 at the combine.
So why are you so gung ho about the guy?
What do you think he runs right now? 4.8? Our main running back cannot be a 4.8. It just can't be that way. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know what he runs right now.
Look.
It ain't what he ran 9 years ago. I'll tell you that much.
Well, no, it isn't. No, it isn't. My nephew made a great point. Like Emmitt Smith was, he's not a 4 guy, 4.3. He's not. Emmitt Smith was a durable back.
That's like people naming Willie Roaf, JD, though.
Well,
you know what I mean?
I'm giving an example. I'm giving an example of guys that's not fast, but they are very durable. You get to the secondary, but he's not going to burn you. What he does is you keep giving him the ball, you feed it to him, and he'll hit you over the head.
He's a great compliment back. I think he still is.
Right. If we find that guy to get his home run to hit his head on the goalpost, good. That's what we want. We brought CH here. They let CH go because CHO had some issues and stuff like that, but he had fast, he had speed. Pacheco churns with his legs. He get to the secondary. He'd get those long gains. But when you need, and I keep bringing this up, when you need a hammer to get the yards, because it's going to be tough sledding all day. Why? Because you're going to get some hard defensive line, some bad ass linebackers, and guys that come downfield. Then you need to change some things.
It's going to be an ugly day.
It is. It's going to be an ugly day, man. But you know those days are coming. As a blocker, you know those days are coming. You know what you got to deal with. So I just, I think that's part of it. As far as we can get lost in, the whole thought process. He's got to be Saquon or DJ, Derrick Henry and stuff. No, I'm just saying how other people think they do. They believe, like, when you have a back in the NFL, like, every guy has to be a Jamar Gibbs and everybody's got to be this guy. And if you're ranked 21st out of all of these running backs and you only average 3.8, you're doing some good things out there. I mean, you were. So Mike Brennan says, someone fact check me on this. I think Hunt has the longest run for KC last year.
He did.
That is more a reflection on the line.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, but you probably have like 70% of our carries too. So it's like,
well, and also too, like, one thing we did have last year that we didn't have in the years prior, and what we were kind of waiting for a long time, is having that short yardage game, right? Because we're a team that doesn't have the QB sneak. We're not doing tush pushes, but like we didn't have that element. We got the red zone. It's like, there we go. We had red zone issues. We had those last year too, but Hunt we were getting those goal line touchdowns because of Kareem Hunt. We're getting those fourth and ones. We're getting those third and ones because of Kareem Hunt. We haven't had that in quite a long time. And Kareem Hunt's not what he was 8 years ago, but he's a different version of himself, kind of like what JD talked about. When he was in Philly, he had the injuries, and then when he comes to Kansas City, he kind of remade himself, branded himself differently. Kareem Hunt's not the same explosive guy he was back then. Yes, he wasn't running 4.4 10 years ago. He's certainly not doing that now. But he's a different kind of guy now. He's now your short yardage, kind of a hammer type of guy. The smash and dash. We have the smash. Now we need the dash.
100%.
We had Carson Steele coming in starting. He was a guy that he was handing the ball off to. Okay. Carson Steele was making he was making a little turn, a little change. But then all of a sudden, like you said, in the case of Marcus was talking about, the year before when Hunt wasn't here, we had to get creative on third down. We had to do the whole fullback dive. Everybody knew what was going. Or we had to do the shovel pass on the goal line. Or we had to run corn dog and all these other things out and, to get guys in. Now, what they did is they lined up and said, we're going to give it to Kareem Hunt. You watch this guy go and eat. And he did. He scored for us. He got the first downs for us. And so that's value. That is absolute value.
100%. I think we're level-headed on this. There are some people that just want to give him like 20 carries a game, though. I think that's kind of the opposite
I don't know,
extreme
man.
side.
There are
people that want him to be our main.
It's a very small sect of people.
What's the extreme? It's the extreme. It's the opposite of the don't re-sign him crowd. It's the exact opposite of that.
Yeah. Right? Look, I'm saying last year, I wanted to give him 20 carries.
Oh yeah, last year I think Teja wanted to give him 20 carries last year.
Yeah. Shoot. I mean, when that sucker was cooking, he started eating and he started, running into the secondary. You could see that he was getting stronger as the game went. And, he had that he hurt his side when it rib or something he might have did, or his stomach, he might have had a
hip or something.
Yeah, something. And he kind of went out. But that is a result of not having training camp. That's a result of not getting hit. All those different things, right? Your body just got to get used to the, he comes right, like I said, that joke was eating Cheetos, having brats or whatever it was up there in Toledo we was talking about, in Cleveland. He's having a good old time. And he's like, hey, Kareem, it's the Chiefs. What? Oh, shoot. What the? Yeah, but they won't bring you in. So, but he looked leaner. But I think I think it's where the hate goes. I think that's where all the hate goes into. Oh, man, we want this guy. Kareem Hunt is not that guy for us. Good. We don't want him to be that guy. We're not asking to be that guy.
Yeah.
We're asking for him to be a solid running back on a team that needs positive yards, okay? And as long as we have that, we know we have something good. We know we have something good. And then we sign him for as much money that we did? Man, come on, man.
Yeah.
That's a no-brainer to me. It's a no-brainer.
And also to the element of if we are going to, and I think we all agree we are going to draft a running back. We don't know what round or how high or how late, but this is the draft to do because it's such a deep running back class. also having him in that room. And if you look at the last 10 years of Andy Reid's offenses, Kareem Hunt's been by far and away, the most successful running back of all the running backs that we've had. And obviously, even at his age now, he's still, doing what he's doing in this offense. And I think to get a running back to see the guy that's done it at highest level in the Andy Reid offense and now doing what he's doing now, I think that's very beneficial to have a young guy to come in here and learn from Kareem Hunt. And he can show him the ropes of how to be a successful RB in the Andy Reid offense too. And I think that's a huge part that a lot of people are forgetting. Because I like Judkins, you guys like Hampton, for whoever the running back is, they bring him in and you can model your game after what Kareem Hunt's done in his prime and now. And it just to have that voice in the RB room to a young guy, yeah. I'd love that.
I think if anything, they're looking for a young Kareem Hunt.
Yeah. And they should
have the kind of guy you want to draft, really. Usually they're looking for that, I think. They're looking for their young version of Hunt at this point.
I think when you go in, you're trying to look for that guy that's a home run hitter, as opposed to having a solid guy that is going to get some very, positive yards, right? I think that's what you need as far as saying we want to be able to move the chains. We need a durable guy, a reliable guy, like a Kareem Hunt, right? A younger version of it. Maybe even somebody who's a little bit faster than him. There's a few guys out there that fit that bill. They do.
There are.
So I think, like you said,
great draft.
Not just saying that you emulate how he runs. It's just like Kareem helps with hey, this is what we do on our offense. If we run in zone, if we run a man, if we decide to run power, we decide to run, counter, mid zone, whatever it is. This is the whole way we're looking like. Not only that, but it can also have those guys block up front. Like I knew one thing is this. You know how guys block because you watch them in practice, you watch them in film, you know how a guy comes off the football, you know all of that. I know a guy's tendencies. I know if a guy's not as strong on is going to the right side or left side or going to the second level or is not as patient just by watching film. He could provide that. The running backs, man, they talk all the time, man. And when you hear them jokers talk, they have a different vision as far as like how they look at the game. They do. I mean, it's a whole different mindset as far as what they see because they can see the breathing hole, the anticipation, and all those different things happening. And so our job up front blocking for them is I just want to give you daylight to run. I want to give you just a little bit so you can see it. So I got to do my job. Half the time, some of those dudes weren't doing their job. Sorry, just wasn't. So,
yeah.
So I know we it's a good conversation to talk about. Actually, here's one right here that is very.
We're not even discussing running backs prospects today. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, we're not. I wanted to.
No, I think we better have a fair amount of them though after this conversation.
We can do it next week. Next week we'll have a good conversation on that.
There you go. Let's all bring running backs to the table next week. Next week will be our running back week.
Yeah, Chiefs fan 211. We'll do Raheem Sanders next week, buddy. I promise.
Yeah,
that's the South Carolina back. Hi everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out the best clips from Chief Concerns. And if you prefer to listen to the show, subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.